Hello, I'm Anna Raimondi, coming to you from the Angel Cooperative in Ridgefield, Connecticut. Welcome to this episode of Talking to the Dead in Suburbia. We have a wonderful guest today. Today, we will be speaking to David Friedman. With multi-platinum recordings, Broadway shows, Disney animated film, television scores, books, teaching, and a lecturing career, you're a little busy.
Well,
David Friedman is truly someone who has made a major mark in all areas of show business and the human potential movement. David has written songs for Disney, Diana Ross, and many others, conducted and vocal arranged 6 musicals on Broadway and numerous Disney animated films, scored 3 children television series, has performed off-Broadway review, Listen to My Heart, the songs of David Friedman, to audiences everywhere. He recently finished a 10-year stint writing and performing a song a month for the Today Show Everyone Has a Song segment. David wrote The Thought Exchange, Overcoming Our Resistance to Living, A Sensational Life, and other books. His next book, Help, is on the way. So welcome. I'm so happy to have you on today.
nice to be here. The last time I saw you was in a swimming pool.
Yeah, wasn't that nice? Just a good memory of warmth and sun, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited to have you on and to talk to all my listeners and viewers about all these wonderful things that you do. But first, I wanted to ask you about the thought exchange. Can you tell us what that is?
Okay, the thought exchange is, for lack of a better word, a metaphysical method that I created by accident. And I've written several books on it. What it is, years ago, I was asked to take over the artist support circle at Unity of New York. And they were losing their leader, and I was a successful artist, and they asked if I would run it. And I went in, and it was, as you might imagine, a bunch of artists sitting in a circle, supporting each other with affirmations. And people were saying things like, I am a world famous singer with millions of dollars in the bank and millions of fans. And I think, no, you're not. Why are you saying that? And I realized that what people do is they kind of create this weird magic. Like if I say something in the correct way enough times, then whoever it is out there who gives out such things will hear me and hand it to me. And I thought, this can't be the way the world works. So as we worked with the notion of positive thinking, I began to see something that I knew for myself, that we all know that if you take on a positive thought, that's the way to have a more positive life. And everybody knows that, but most of us don't seem to be able to do that. We take on the positive thought, and in 10 seconds, we're back at the negative thought. So I thought, we're not stupid, we're not lazy, we're really trying here. Why is that? And I began to realize that if a positive thought was associated with a difficult or negative experience earlier in life, for instance, if you said at some point when you were a kid, I can do this, and you got slapped across the face and told, no, you can't, then anytime you take on that thought, you're ready for the slap. So you feel uncomfortable and you run to the negative thought, which I call the protective thought, to protect you. So like a child quickly learns, don't speak up, or don't ask for what you want, or don't plan on something. And they learn to think the other way. So what happens is those uncomfortable sensations are going to come up when you think that thought. They're meaningless now. So I teach people to think the thought they want to think, exchange the thought that's stopping them for the thought they want to think. But then do not expect to feel better. Expect to feel whatever you feel when you think that thought. And so, like, I go on stage a lot. I do not feel comfortable as I'm walking on the stage. I'm shaking, my heart is pounding, my hands are shaking. And I know that that's part of going on the stage. If I can't be with that, I can't walk on the stage. And so I say to people, you want to be famous? You want to be successful? Are you willing to be that uncomfortable? And so I teach people you can take on any thought you want as long as you are willing to feel what you feel in your sensations and not fight that and not make up a story about that. Doesn't
I think that's wonderful, because I think that when people read The Secret, it's simple. Put it out there. Your intentions are out there. You manifest it, you get it. And now people like you are saying, hey, wait a minute. It's a little bit more complicated. Not that you have to complicate it, which is saying something very different, but you have to look at who you are and your experiences and how it feels. Like what that book to me left out is, how do you feel when you put it out there?
well, it perpetrates the lie that you're going to feel good
Mhm.
when you get success. Success is a really hard thing to handle for a lot of people. It's complicated, as you said. So, for instance, I say maybe the reason that my thought exchange, which certainly is very successful, but it's not like worldwide, is the people who are real like The Secret promise you you're going to do this little thing, it's going to be easy, and you're going to get what you want. Like, you're going to go on this diet, it's going to be fabulous, you're going to lose weight, everything's fine.
Mhm.
Losing weight is uncomfortable. So I say, come to my workshop, pay me, and I guarantee you you'll leave feeling worse than you came in. Want to do it?
But that's what it's all about, is embracing that pain that we all have it. None of us are perfect. We all have our stuff. But embracing it and saying, I don't need this anymore. I can let it go.
And
And
I
that's
and
really hard.
the interesting thing, my thought about the phrase "let it go" doesn't mean this. It means let it go, let it keep going, let it move, let my I had a wonderful. I was getting a lifetime achievement award, and Lucy Arnaz was presenting it to me. And we're backstage pacing the floor nervously because she has to go out and expound on my virtues, and then I have to go out and accept an award and sing and play. And she stops and she says, all right, what are my sensations? My throat is tight, my stomach is churning, and my hands are shaking. And just as she said that, the announcer said, ladies and gentlemen, won't you welcome to the stage the one, the only, the fabulous Miss Lucy Arnaz. And she went, I can go out there with that. And she walked out.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's kind of, that reminds me of Donny Osmond was in Joseph and the Technicolor Coat, and he like had a breakdown because he had such bad stage fright, and you look at this person who was a child star, but and I think he talks about it in a book or whatever I read, saying it goes back to that, and he had to deal with getting pushed out onto a stage where it wasn't in his comfort zone.
And not being allowed to be afraid, that not being accepted. Like, you're afraid and you do it. Your mind makes up a story and you don't follow that story. You go, I used to stand at the edge of the stage and go, my God, I can't do it. I can't do it. Now I go, oh, all systems go. This is the way it feels to walk on a stage. Heart pounding, stomach churning, hand shaking. Here we go. Adrenaline.
Well, or you could do it my way, which is I take myself out of my body, I go into my soul, I become a holograph, I walk onto a stage with, think of it, I could say the most ridiculous things to people if I'm doing a reading on a stage, but I'm fully confident that it's not me, it's not about me. And so I put my ego over there.
That's right. That's right. And in fact, me is the holograph, the emptiness.
Yeah.
We do a lot of work in thought exchange with going to that emptiness, with going to the body, with not, this thing is just, this thing cannot fix itself. This thing is going on and on and on and on and on and talking and like my Jewish grandmother, looking for every possible danger and relating it to the past and saying, don't go there and don't do this and don't do this. And I go, yeah, grandma, yeah, okay, yeah, I know, and do it. So,
Yeah, well,
so
that's funny. You know, and being, I have to say, because you brought up your Jewish grandmother, being Jewish or Italian, we carry that energy. I can't, I don't know. It's just, it's like inbred in us. It's around us. That energy is us. We do carry the energy of our ancestors. And in your grandmother's case, she had a lot of good reason to feel that way. She owned it. She was that way. She passed it on. Okay. And then you are saying right now, no, I stopped that. I do not accept this.
But yeah, and you see, and I can say I don't accept it, but I can't stop it from being,
No.
I can just interpret it differently. So it's like years ago, Sean and I are very different. I'm a big hypochondriac. And so years ago, we both were having this bizarre symptom. It was like a buzzing sensation down the front of our bodies. And we both had it for about 4 months. The only difference between us is every time he got it, he assumed it was his chakras opening. And every time I got it, I assumed I was having an aortic aneurysm. So every time I was like, oh my God. And he'd go, ah. And it was the same sensations. So when someone says to me, oh my God, my heart is pounding, I'm dizzy, I can't breathe, I can't catch my breath, I'm hot and cold, I say, oh, are you having an orgasm? And in that context, welcome those very same feelings that you would call a panic attack.
Mhm.
They're just your body doing something. And,
So do you see people in groups? Have you been doing it on Zoom?
well, I have a thought exchange Zoom group every Wednesday night at 5 o'clock, and 5 to 7. And it's people, you see, I've taught this all over the country, but now, and everyone keeps asking me, when are you coming back? Well, now I
Right.
can all over the country.
I
And
know
so
it's great.
we keep the group small, and I charge $20 for it, and it's usually about 10 people. And we do a thought exchange every Wednesday from 5 to 7. And if anyone's interested, you just go to David Friedman Composer at gmail.com and write to me, and I'll let you know how you do it. And a lot of people do private sessions with me.
And you wrote a book around this or a couple of books around this?
I've written 3 books: The Thought Exchange, Overcoming Our Resistance to Living a Sensational Life, The Healing Power of Negative Thoughts and Uncomfortable Sensations, Stop Being Afraid of Them and Start Using Them to Heal, and a workbook called It's All Inside. Because another one of the principles of thought exchange is that the only place the world is happening is in my thoughts and my sensations. So I like to say, I can't even prove that you're there. I know I experience you, and here I could be dreaming. And so when something happens, we experience it as sensations and thoughts. You never can really get into the outside world. It's all here. And so what we're seeing is our thoughts. So like I was at a dinner party years ago, and this woman was going through a miserable divorce. And she really hated her husband. And she said, that SOB, he has taken everything. He's left me destitute. I have nothing. I don't know how I'm going to survive. The only thing he's left me is the apartment. I have to sell it to survive. So someone said, oh, what are you asking for the apartment? She said, oh, $7,750,000. Now, Now, that's hilarious at first, but then you realize this woman has such an experience of destitution that you look at $7 million and experience destitution because that's in her. And nothing in the outside world will change that because the outside world is a mirror. Now, some people take that to mean we're causing the outside world to happen. Like I'm thinking $1 million, and then it will appear. No, the outside world is happening, but it is only reflecting to us what we think. So she says, I'm destitute. So she sees her husband leaving her. I'm destitute. She sees $7 million. She sees destitute. She sees. And so when you realize you're only seeing yourself and you're out of touch with the infinite possibilities that are always here because you're shutting down. I don't write songs. They write me. They're already there. Every combination is already in the ether, always has been, always will be. I don't know how to write a song. I know how to create a condition, just as I would imagine you don't know how to contact spirits. You know how to open to that which is there and would be there for everybody if they knew how to
Right.
open.
Right.
Right. Uh,
Similar. What you're talking about is very similar too. Are you familiar with Ernest Holmes?
or,
Okay.
yeah.
So this is like Ernest Holmes, for those that don't know, he wrote Science of Mind. Um, I mean, there's it's very consistent with what he wrote and yet a little bit different. Okay. Because you go deeper in a different way where he's more in that Christ consciousness,
Yes.
and the expansion of that.
Well, where I come in, it's like um, I come in, okay, I understand this. Why am I not getting to it? Why do I read that? Where am I misinterpreting it? Or where can I just not get in? So usually it's something where, as we said, we have this idea that we're supposed to feel better. It's like a friend of mine said to me once, he said, I don't know why I drink so much. And I said, would you like to find out why you drink so much? And he said, I really would. I said, stop drinking. You'll find out immediately why you drink. You'll feel the discomfort that makes you do that. But he's looking for something comfortable, and it's not comfortable. It's, getting sober or getting letting go of something. You're you've set up, we all have set up these false selves, these personalities, these uh, goals, these to stay away from a certain hurt. And when we remove them, which is what we say we want, we have to go through the hurt.
And then there's a void that you need
That's
to fill with something.
yes. And that something is infinite, but we're so afraid of that void.
I
We're so
know. But once you get there and once it fills you, you look at it and say, why did I wait so long? So it's
yep.
worth going through that journey that listen, we're all on this journey and we all have our pain and our hurts and we all have the good stuff too, you know. But comfort zone's a big deal, just like, misery, like people who are miserable, it's like, how do you shake them out of being miserable, but this is all they know. And we all know people like that. And you think, wow,
Emptiness. You're more afraid of that emptiness. And
right.
I understand it, in the areas in which, because I find one of the things I love about this work and about teaching is like people say to me, they say, you're just amazing. I mean, whatever problem I bring up, you seem to understand it. And I say, because I have it. And and when I'm really working with a singer, say, and really zeroing in on some issue, I look for it in my own work. I know that I'm working on it too in
Yeah,
some
but
way.
that's by the theory of attraction. People will be attracted to the healer that
Right.
can heal them.
Yeah.
That's just like the people that come to me, there's some kind of bonding and attraction to me. I mean, there's lots of mediums out there,
Yeah.
but they come to me because there's a comfort, there's an attraction, and we connect before we connect. It's
Right.
still, like you said, it's in the air, it's in the ether, it's there,
Yeah.
which makes it so amazing. I'm so glad you're doing this. I really am.
And I need it for myself. I mean, I'm usually working like a lot of times when I'm working with a client who has, you know, some major issues. I mean, there are people with eating disorders who come to me. There are people with dissociative disorders who come to me. I'm not a therapist, but I work in a different way. And generally, I will not say, when you've been traumatized like you, I'll say, when you've been traumatized, as we have, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
in this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it takes away the discomfort. It's like, you're not judging me for my trauma. You're not judging me for my pain.
No.
It's so interesting, but we are healed by the people that we associate with and that we're trying to help. Everybody. I mean, we've come onto this planet to heal each other. And the
Right.
more we do that, the more we will be healed. You
Yep.
know, it's, the more compassion you give, the more compassion you get back. So, I think it's wonderful. I hope you write more books. I hope people come to you across the board. But I want to talk to you about your songs.
Uh-huh.
You write a lot of songs with spiritual and inspirational themes.
Yeah.
Where does this come from? Do you have a muse? Do you feel it coming through you? Are you writing it? Is spirit writing it? What do you do? What do you feel?
Well, definitely spirit. I mean, as I said, I don't know how to write a song. Uh, I open and uh, generally a song writes me because I need to hear it.
Oh,
And
that's great.
so it's like, I always laugh because people say, "Oh my God, you write these songs. Help us on the way. We can be kind. We live on borrowed time. You must be so spiritual and so centered." And I say, if you think I think help us on the way, or if you think I trust the wind, you're out of your mind. I get these messages because I need to hear them. So I will have, like, I have a show called Listen to My Heart, and it's an evening of my songs, and it's me sort of writing them and five voices around me singing them to me, through me, and from me. And so when I start, I say to the audience, thank you for coming to listen to my songs. Actually, that's a misnomer because I don't feel I write them. They write me. And I go to the piano and I start playing. And I said, when I have some problem or some issue or something I'm thinking about, I go to the piano and I listen for the voices, you know, the voices, same ones you hear. There are voices softly
They're the
whispering
same ones.
in my head, telling me I'm gonna be all right. They keep saying, let yourself be led where you are led. Don't hold back. Don't put up a fight. They tell me, trust the wind, breathe the air. There's a place you're meant to be, and you're already there. Open up your heart and let life in. You know that you can always trust the wind. And then everyone gathers around me. And so these are usually, and like years ago, I'm a member of Al Anon, and I was talking to my sponsor on the phone, and I was really upset about something. And she said, I want to read you something. And she read me this such a great, inspiring passage. And I said to her, I said, my God, that is perfect. That is just what I needed. What book is that from? She said, oh, it's from this book called The Thought Exchange by David Friedman.
Oh, that's great.
So it's not, and sometimes I'll write a song and I'll go, oh my God, this song is so great. And I'm not raving about me.
No, that's how I feel. Like when people say to me, "Oh, it's so second nature to you." Sometime in the middle of a reading, I'll say, "Oh, that's amazing." And they
Yeah.
look at me like, because it's coming through me.
Right.
Okay. I'm not thinking of this. And when they say, "Oh, I needed that," and I'm sitting back saying, "That's wild how that came through me." And I said it. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm amazed. I'm in
Yeah.
awe of heaven. I'm in awe of these voices around me and these spirits around me. So I totally get it.
And you're a conduit. Like when someone, oh my God, write one of those fabulous David Friedman songs, I go, I don't really know how to do that. I'll open and see what it has
Yeah.
to write.
So what happens when like you're writing for say a Disney show when you have to write about something specific? Does it still come through you like that?
Yeah, well, you ask for it. And also, what I love about writing for Disney is, Disney is very commercial, and the suits are, making sure that but that millions and millions of people are going to hear this. So you sneak in the spiritual stuff. But you see, when I would get an assignment like that earlier in my career, I would panic and I think, oh my God, I can't write this. And then one day I realized I can't write this. Not me who writes it. And so I open and, sometimes it comes quickly. Like when I wrote Help Is on the Way, Nancy Lamont called me from the road and said, I'm getting tired of my closing number. I'd like you to write me something. And I said, what do you want? She said, something that leaves people, lets people leave the theater uplifted and hopeful. So I wrote the first part of Help Is on the Way. Just don't give up the ship even when you feel it's sinking and you don't know what to do. That came to me. And I wrote the first part to the chorus, Help Is on the Way, from places you don't know about today, from friends you may not have met yet. Believe me when I say, I know help is on the way. And then I was stuck. So I said, all right, put your money where your mouth is. If you're writing about help is on the way, get up, go to a party. And at that party, I had a conversation with Alex Corey about something entirely different that gave me the next idea, which was to take each line and think of a person, what some person I knew who was having some issue and what they might need to hear. You don't have to know where the path you're on is leading. You just have to walk along. Dreaming as you go, asking for the things you're needing, you never can go wrong. If you have faith that things are happening as they should, and just believe each step you take is leading you to something good, help is on the way. And so now I just wrote a book a few years ago on my song, We Can Be Kind, where I took each chapter and wrote essays. Each chapter was one line of the lyric, and then wrote essays and stories about that. So my next book, I took the song Help Is on the Way, and it was made for that because each line is separate. And so, but these things, it really is, and I know it's true in what you do, the process of preparing is really the process of getting out of the way.
Yeah.
It's the process of opening something, and
Yeah.
you are not dealing with your conscious mind. You're dealing with a different level, and you have to let that level arise. And as you were alluding to, sometimes you go, really? What? This is coming up, and you let it, and you let the crazy idea. Like when I coach, when I started, I was like, I prepared and I knew what I was going to say. Now someone sings for me or brings me a question, I have no idea in the world what to say. I just go,
Yep. That's how I am in my readings.
yeah. And
You
it's,
know, I just go, so whatever comes through my mouth comes through my mouth, and that's it. And I write or I crochet, because if I need to get out of that processing mind, and if I'm doing something with my hands, I become more of an open vessel for that.
yes.
So yeah, so it's really interesting. So you've written scores for Broadway, for Disney. So
Yeah.
can you tell me how you slip spirituality into like a Disney song?
Well, for instance, uh, they asked me to write the opening song for the sequel to Bambi.
A
And we're all
sequel?
traumatized by Bambi because the mother dies, and here it goes back to that moment the mother died again. So it's so the first they asked me, they said, it's winter, everything is cold, everything is frozen, everything is hopeless. Can you write something hopeful? So I was on the plane going back from the meeting, and came to me, under the snow, beneath the frozen stream, talk about that emptiness, there is life. You have to know when nature sleeps, she dreams. There is life. And the colder the winter, the warmer the spring. The deeper the sorrow, the more our hearts sing. Even when you can't see it, inside everything, there is life. And then it went to after the rain, the sun will just, and so it was about hope. Now at the end, I wrote, there is life forever. There is life. And one of the, 18-year-old executives said, you can't say that because we don't live forever.
Hmm.
And I said, and Sean, my partner, who is a Unity minister, said, funny he should say that since Bambi's dead mother is singing the song.
I have to tell you, I think almost every Disney song is spiritual. That's why I asked you.
It is, yeah. And so you put as much of that in, and you know, the thing about one of the big successes of the Disney movies is that they function on many levels. So the adults watching with the
Mhm.
children can get a different message that's apropos to them. So you really want to. I wrote a song for the Lizzie McGuire movie, and it was about how uh, Lizzie is on this trip, and Gordo, her best friend, is with her, and she falls in love with this Italian movie star. And everyone can see that Gordo is the person who she should be with, and she doesn't see him. So I wrote a song called Open Your Eyes to Love. You've been searching the world to find true love, looking in all the wrong places. When all of the time you've been blind to love, it's plain as the nose on your faces. It's here, it's now. Open your eyes and see it right here, right now. Open your eyes to love. Love has been here by your side so close that you couldn't see. If love could speak, it would shout to the skies. I've always been here. I always will be. I'm here. I'm now. Open your eyes and see me. Now, that is about this guy, but it's really about
Mm.
and the
Yeah.
theme of the movie is that. So you write something that's the the action, but the bigger theme, and you tuck it in. So you stay with a plot, but you're writing, you're sending the message. And my favorite thing, um, we did a show off Broadway called Desperate Measures, and it was very, we did in 2018, and we won the drama desk. We won the Outer Critics Circle. It was a big success. And there was a song called It's Good to Be Alive about how cactus on the plain strive. Why? Because it's good to be alive. And uh, Lauren Molina was in the show, and she also did photography. And this young, delightful actor came to have his picture taken. And he said, I have to tell you a story. I was having a complete nervous breakdown. And I went to my therapist, and my therapist said, you leave here and you go straight to the hospital because you're suicidal. And he said, I have tickets to Desperate Measures. I'll go right after that. And he said, when I heard It's Good to Be Alive, I had lost my desire to kill myself. And I thought, thank you.
Yeah, that's what it's about, isn't it?
That piece.
Yeah, it has to touch. I mean, I think music, songs, they, I mean, they touch me so deeply.
Yeah.
The words of a song, what they're saying, how they're saying it. It's just, I'm one of these people that, I turn on the radio and I could be in the car crying, just because it affected me that way. And I think it does for most people, whether they want to admit it or not. But I do think it happens for most people.
Because it gets
Yes.
under the conscious mind. And
Yes,
that,
and it speaks to us. And
yeah.
there's no randomness. Like, you turn on the radio and a certain song comes on and it's like, wow, like that just shifted me.
Well, you'll love this. Nancy Lamont, who was really my muse. She was a singer. I produced 5 of her albums, and she was extraordinary. And she died at 43. And the night she died, I didn't sleep. I was desolate. So I put on all 5 of her CDs on shuffle to see what she would sing. So the first thing she sang was accentuate the positive. And I thought, all right, yeah, okay. Then she sang Help Is on the Way. And I burst into tears and I said, help is not on the way. Everything is over. I've spent all these years. We had so much going. I've lost her. And the song finished. And then she sang Help Is on the Way again. Now, what are the chances that on shuffle, it was like,
Right.
excuse me. And I went, okay. you know,
Yeah. It's pretty
uh,
amazing, right?
it,
And the more you're awake to how they come through, especially through music, the more exciting it is. And the more you hear them, you
yeah.
know, like people come to me because they want the medium, I'm the in between, and they think that they can't get these messages on their own. And I sit there and say, but didn't you hear the song that your mother sent you the other day? And they look at me and they're like, crazy lady, what song? And then they think about it as like, oh yeah, yes, I did. Yes, she used to sing that song to me, and it always made me feel very loved. Once you open up, it's exciting because it's always around the next corner, you
And,
know?
and it's not, as I said before, it's not even like, oh, this person is doing this. It's your openness to
That's right.
experience
Completely your openness.
is. It's like one of the challenges with when you have like palm readers, and they go, you will get $1 million. And actually, what they're picking up is some energy that something excellent is going to happen for you. And that may be their interpretation of it, but it's not really what yours is. So the energy comes through, and the person who receives it has to go sit and go,
Well, they have to translate it.
yeah, what is this? Right. And so it's uh it's really a constant openness uh without figuring it out. I've spent so much of my life figuring things out and trying to control it. One of my favorite sayings, when someone says, I finally decided to give up control, I go, you had it? I mean, we are just, we're being lived. And so when this pandemic started, I said, you know what? I've been pushing so hard and I'm exhausted, and I'm going to sit back and let the universe take care of me. And it has in ways.
I know.
Things,
I did the same thing.
yeah. I say I sit here like a baby bird, and baby birds get fed.
Yeah, I know. So the book you were talking about, Help is on the Way, is that out yet? Or is that being published?
Being published. I'm working on the audiobook, and they're publishing the uh, hard copy. It's coming out, I think, in May. And the thing is, that song has had a big resurgence. I did this big video of Help Is on the Way for Broadway Cares with 75 Broadway performers from all over to raise money for Broadway Cares. And the the theme of it is, it's not that, oh, do this and this will happen and this is where you get this. It's more about live in the knowing that there is help in ways you can't imagine. So I often, when I sing it for people, I sing it into a hopeless situation, Like, it may seem like everything is not working, but you have no idea how, where, when something can happen. So it's a lot of stories about keeping yourself in a state of mind in which it's possible to see the possibilities. And then there are sections on things you can do to put yourself in that, and things you can do for other people to help put them in it, and thus put the world in it.
Well, how apropos. I mean, it sounds like the book's about hope. And isn't that what we need now? I mean, we need hope.
And you know what it is? It's interesting because there's a section in it called Hope and Faith. And hope is, I don't have something now, and I hope it will appear. Faith is, I know it's here, and I don't know or where. And so I go, I know. That's why I say, believe me when I say, I know help is on the way. I don't know how, I don't know where, but I know. And moving ourselves to that sense, I call it in Thought Exchange, the great unmanifested. Everything exists. So I say, close your eyes and see where everything is. Find a penny. Got it? Got it. Find $1 billion. Got it? Got it. It's $1 billion is there as easy as a penny is there. It's all here. And depending on your willingness and also on what you really deep down require. A lot of people would drop dead if they got $1 billion. They would just not know what to do with it. And so it's just knowing in a quiet way, everything is here. And these songs remind me, because I certainly forget as much as anybody. It's like, Sean is a minister, and one of his aces in the hole as a minister is he makes it very clear that he's working on everything he's preaching about himself, and he's just applying spiritual principle to us all. And so he used to do his sermon, which is, it's his work day, it's a stage day. He's very present, but it's pressuring. And so we'd have lunch and we'd come home. And about 3 o'clock, I'd say, honey, that spiritual principle that you are so beautifully expounding on this morning, not really seeing it in action at the moment, and he'd say some expletive, like go. And so now he goes back to the church after lunch and he unwinds for a few hours, and then we have dinner, because he is also subject to the same things everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I teach at a college, I teach a master class, then I do a concert, and then I have a class where the kids critique me. And someone will say, well, you said that you're supposed to do this and you didn't do that. I said, yeah, you noticed I got nervous right there and I didn't really stick to it. To let people know this is not, oh, I have arrived now and I am, this is all your life. You are.
None of us are perfect.
That's right. You are writing, and we're perfect in our
imperfection. But I love what you said about, like, you say, I know, not I believe. I know. It's very different. Somebody posted on Facebook last week something like, I don't believe in God. I know. I don't believe there is a God. I know there is a God.
Right.
Very different statements. And when you put that out, I know that my tomorrow is going to be better. I know it. I have faith. I know it. Therefore, I have the hope. It doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing,
You function, you open, and you get the sign to do this, to pick up the phone, to do this, to do,
Yeah. Not just, people think they just sit back and it's like, okay, bring it on. It's like, not quite that way. Yeah. If it's brought to you, then do something with it to promote it, to get it going. And not everybody really understands that. And so they say, how can you have faith? Or how can you hope?
Go into the emptiness.
Yeah.
Then fine ideas pop up. They just
do.
Like pick up the phone. So now this is an example of thought exchange. So when it says pick up the phone, your mind might say, oh no, I'm too afraid to call them. I'm this and that. I'm whatever. And you pick it up. I had one person in thought exchange. She was in her 40s, and she said she used to be a great fundraiser, and now she's like frozen. She can't do it. So I said, I want you to go to the phone, feel your sensations, whatever they are, pick up the phone and dial. Nowhere did it say, feel better about it, get yourself psyched, just do that. So she came in, she said, I went to the phone, I got a huge hot flash. I picked up the phone and I raised a lot of money. So I said, okay, here's your affirmation. Here's a hot flash. I'm a great fundraiser. And so it may be that fundraising comes with a hot flash. If you decide you can't be with that hot flash, you will make up a story that means you can't raise funds. It means nothing of the kind. It means you get a hot flash when you pick up the phone.
Right. Yeah, that's great. So then you wrote a book called How They Met, which I actually have.
Yes.
It was given to me by someone that's in the book.
Uh-huh. Yes.
It's a great book. But what made you write that?
What happened was, because that's not really in my wheelhouse, although I put out a CD of 17 songs that go with that book, because I write about longing a lot. What happened was about, over 20 years ago, I was in a long relationship and it ended in one day, not by my doing. It just was like, it was out of there after 15 years. And I was devastated. And I was lying in bed one night and thinking, my life is over. I'm never going to be happy again. And suddenly, this thought came to me that whoever it was I was going to meet was already in the world and was somewhere. And someday we'd have the story about how I was in Europe and I was on the train and I was going to Czechoslovakia and I sprained my ankle and I went to the hospital in Prague and there was a nurse there and he was really lovely and we bonded and we went for coffee and now we've been together for 20 years. And so so I wrote a song called You're Already There. You're already there waiting for me, wondering where in the world I could be. You go through the day dreaming a dream, afraid that it might not come true, while I'm lying here dreaming of you. And so at the end it said, so in a funny way, you're already mine. It's just, you have to be. And I wrote that song. And one of the things I did to heal, it took 3 years till I met Sean, 3 long years. And one of the things I did to heal was I'd interview couples of long standing to find out how they met. And what I discovered was the role of serendipity. There's no, there are a lot of books on you want to meet someone, you go out, you target, you make calls, you get out there. It was the first story in the book is called Pooper Scooper Romance. A guy was walking his dog. He forgot the pooper scooper. He picked up a piece of newspaper from the trash. There was a personal ad in it. He answered it, and he's married to that woman.
Great. That is a great story.
So everybody, there was one, I will never, 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 never marry another actor. They're happily married for 30 years. And so to notice that, just go through your life. There's some people who really get out there. There's some people who say, no, 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 I never want to meet anybody again. And someone falls through the ceiling, And so and again, it's not about how to meet someone. It's not. So last Valentine's Day, I did a concert where I told the stories and then had people do a song that was related to it. And so a friend of mine said, I was so reluctant to go because it's Valentine's Day and I'm single and I don't. And she said, I walked in and the whole concert was, as you say, about hope and faith. The whole concert was about, I have no idea how I'm going to meet someone. And it doesn't matter what my circumstance is right now. It could seem absolutely hopeless. And in 5 minutes, I could meet the love of my life in a way I never dreamed. So just open up. And she began to, open. I had someone online, during the pandemic, and he was really, I'm so alone and I don't have anybody. And how can you meet someone? And I said, just read the book. And he met someone. I mean, it's just in this weird online way. And so
I find that all weird on the online, this whole online dating. But you know what? My son met his wife that way. I know a lot of people that have met, their loves that way.
it's the energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just don't know. And, there, as I say, more and more, and it's hard for me to let go of it. It's frightening, but to go, I am being lived by spirit. Mm-hmm. I am not, I remember I was doing a musical with Kathy Lee Gifford, and she's very, fundamentalist Christian. And we were doing a presentation and she said, let's pray. And she took my hands and she said, dear God, we know that you are in charge and that we are just here to serve you and that whatever happens is what's supposed to happen and you are taking care of us. Amen. And I said, well, Kathy, I'm going to let God be in charge for a couple hours, but if he doesn't do a good job, I'm taking it back. It's like, that's ridiculous. You never, and people think like someone will say, well, how come he's still drinking and I was able to stop? I'm more, I have more discipline. I go, What gave you that discipline? What enabled you to find that? It's grace. It's not, you know, it's not me. And so when we do that, it's very scary. But then we kind of realize we're opening to such a bigger palette, such a,
Yeah, the people love to be in control. They don't realize how much easier life is when you give it up and you co-partner with spirit. It doesn't mean you're giving up all your control, but it's coming from a different place. And there's something so beautiful about working, you know, with divinity.
and the thing is, though, we always are. I mean, divinity does not ever move away from us.
Mm.
Like when people say, I do a meditation at the beginning of thought exchange where we go under the mind, under the sensations to the emptiness. And people say, I can't find it. I can't get there. And I say, just know it's there all the time. The silence, spirit, it's always here. It's not running from you. It's waiting for you to open. And we're working on opening to it, and but just to shift and go, I know it's there. So even when I think, there's a wonderful story Sean tells, and it's about a man who has, he's really struggling financially, and he's closes his eyes to pray, and he says, God, I know you can do this. I need one pot of gold, just one pot of gold, please. One pot of gold. Thank you. Amen. Opens his eyes, nothing. Closes his eyes, says, God, maybe I didn't make it clear. My wife is sick. My son needs clothes for school. No, one pot of gold. Thank you, God. Amen. Nothing. One more try. He goes, God, please, what do I have to do to let you know that I need this pot of gold? I know you can do it. Please, one pot of gold. Thank you. Amen. He opens his eyes. There's a pot of gold sitting there. He goes, oh, never mind, God, I found one.
Yeah. And people do that all the time.
It's like, oh, that.
Yeah. Well, this has been wonderful. I mean, I think that your message of hope and faith and what you're doing with the thought exchange and just being human, that we're all in this together, we all feel the same way, can help so many people. And I hope it can really help the people that are listening to this podcast today. Because you have so much to say, you're so dynamic, and you do it with a sense of humor and a smile. It's been such a pleasure. I hope everybody enjoyed today's episode as much as I did. If so, please like, share, and comment, and be sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. And David, I'm so happy we had you on. I love you, love you, love you. And I so appreciate what you're doing for the world.
Thank you. This was totally fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun, right?